The yoga teacher who turned killer, Kaitlin Armstrong's 43-day run. The calm before the storm. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a like, because what starts as peace ends in panic. In Austin, Texas, the world of yoga was calm, clean, and filled with light. Kaitlin Armstrong was its embodiment, a woman with long auburn hair, soft eyes, and the kind of serenity people paid to be near. She wasn't just a yoga teacher, she was a healer, an influencer, the face of balance in a chaotic world. But beneath that calm exterior lived something else: jealousy, heartbreak, and obsession. Kaitlin had been in a long-term relationship with Colin Strickland, a professional cyclist and local celebrity. Their romance was on and off, the kind of story that friends whispered about, passion one week, silence the next. When Colin started seeing another cyclist, Moriah M.O. Wilson, things changed. M.O. was everything Kaitlin once was: young, confident, admired in Austin's cycling scene. But unlike Kaitlin, M.O. had no idea she was walking straight into a rivalry that would end in blood. On May 11, 2022, Moriah arrived in Austin to compete in a race. She and Colin met for a casual swim, something innocent between two athletes. Kaitlin knew. She always knew. Her phone records later revealed what detectives would call the trigger point. Colin dropped M.O. off that evening. Minutes later, Kaitlin's black Jeep Grand Cherokee was spotted pulling up near Mo's apartment. Neighbors later told police they heard 3 gunshots. Inside the apartment, Moriah was found on the bathroom floor, her bike helmet still beside her. No forced entry. No signs of a struggle. Just precision. When police arrived, Kaitlin was calm. Too calm. She offered condolences, played innocent, but small details started to surface: a gun registered in her name matching the shell casings, surveillance footage of her SUV near the scene, and messages showing jealousy simmering for months. Detectives called her in for questioning. She smiled, nodded, and agreed to cooperate. But due to a clerical error, one single administrative mistake, she wasn't detained. That same evening, she vanished. 2 days later, her Jeep was found abandoned at a nearby business park. Her phone was turned off. Her credit cards untouched. Kaitlin Armstrong, the yoga teacher, the influencer, the peace-loving guru, had just become America's most wanted woman. What followed next would defy logic, borders, and identity itself. Because while the police were still trying to piece together motive, Kaitlin was already gone. Gone, with a new name, a fake passport, and a one-way ticket to paradise. The fugitive in paradise. By the time the Austin police realized their mistake, Kaitlin Armstrong was already in the wind. She had cashed out her crypto, sold her car, and vanished into thin air. Her last known movement was at an airport in Newark, New Jersey, where she boarded a flight under a fake name. For over a month, her face was plastered across the internet. Wanted, Kaitlin Armstrong, armed, dangerous, and extremely calculated. The story was viral. A yoga instructor turned fugitive. It didn't seem real. Her old followers, the ones who once liked her posts about energy balance and manifesting inner peace, now shared her mugshot in disbelief. But 1,800 miles away, in the humid jungles of Costa Rica, Kaitlin had found what she thought was a new life. Her name was now Ari, her hair dyed brown, her nose altered through cosmetic surgery. She rented a small apartment near the beach in Santa Teresa, a town where tourists came to surf and disappear. She enrolled in yoga classes under her new identity, even began teaching again. To locals, she was quiet but friendly. A little guarded. Always glancing over her shoulder. But while Kaitlin played her role as the new, peaceful expat, the walls were closing in. U.S. Marshals were watching flight manifests, tracing financial footprints, and building a timeline. They discovered that Kaitlin had used her sister's passport to board her flight to Costa Rica. Even worse, she had paid cash for plastic surgery at a local clinic. An agent later said, she thought she could erase her face. But she couldn't erase her past. Her daily routine became paranoia wrapped in yoga calm. Mornings spent at beachside cafes, afternoons hiding behind sunglasses and oversized hats. She stopped using Wi-Fi, paid in cash, and told anyone who asked that she was healing from a breakup. But the real break was coming, one she couldn't stretch her way out of. Back in Texas, detectives had recovered surveillance footage of her Jeep near the murder scene and matched ballistic evidence from her gun. Her fingerprints were found on key items left behind. The warrant was official. The charge, first-degree murder. Now, Kaitlin Armstrong wasn't just missing. She was the centerpiece of an international manhunt. Interpol got involved. The Costa Rican police received a tip about a foreign yoga teacher with an American accent and a mysterious past. Local investigators began to check small beach towns, hostels, and yoga retreats. Then came the break. A woman teaching yoga at a surf camp in Santa Teresa caught someone's attention. She looked similar to Armstrong, different hair, altered nose, but the eyes were unmistakable. Authorities moved in quietly. They sent a plainclothes team to blend among tourists. On June 29, 43 days after Kaitlin Armstrong fled the U.S., officers entered a hostel under the guise of a routine immigration check. As one officer later described, she froze. Just for a second. That's when I knew it was her. Kaitlin tried to run. She bolted down a hallway, barefoot, clutching a yoga mat bag as if it were a shield. But she didn't make it far. When they searched her belongings, they found her sister's passport, over $6,000 in cash, and a stack of handwritten notes about how to stay invisible. The woman who once preached peace had mastered the art of chaos. But even as they escorted her away, handcuffed and silent, witnesses said she never broke composure. She didn't cry. Didn't plead. Didn't speak. Just a faint smirk, the kind that could mean guilt, defiance, or something in between. To the world, the chase was over. But for investigators, one question still remained: what exactly drove a calm, grounded yoga instructor to murder her rival in cold blood? The answer, as it turns out, would be far darker than anyone expected: the calm killer. When Kaitlin Armstrong was extradited back to the United States, her story became a global sensation, part Hollywood thriller, part tragic obsession. Cameras followed her every step as she stepped off the plane, dressed in plain clothes, her once relaxed yoga demeanor replaced by a cold, unreadable calm. To the public, she was the yoga killer. But to those who knew her, she was still the woman who once said things like, "Peace starts from within." Behind bars, she kept her composure. She meditated for hours, barely spoke, and stared through people rather than at them. Even investigators admitted that interviewing her felt like talking to a wall, polite, quiet, and completely detached from reality. But the evidence was overwhelming. The murder weapon, her gun, matched the bullets found at the crime scene. Her Jeep was caught circling Moriah Wilson's apartment minutes before the shooting. GPS data placed her at key locations. And yet, the most haunting piece of evidence wasn't digital, it was emotional. Colin Strickland, the man caught between the two women, later testified that Kaitlin had been deeply insecure about Moriah. She had read their text messages, tracked their locations, even posed online as someone else to monitor them. She believed that losing Colin meant losing herself. In her mind, this wasn't a crime of rage. It was control, the final, irreversible yoga pose of her life. During the trial, the prosecution painted her as a manipulator, a chameleon who could change faces and emotions at will. They showed the jury photos of her in Costa Rica, smiling, teaching yoga again, pretending to be Ari. The defense argued she panicked. That jealousy clouded her mind, that she broke under pressure. But there was no panic in the details, only precision. The travel plans. The false passport. The cash withdrawals. The new identity. Every movement had purpose. Every step was preparation. The jury didn't take long. Guilty of first-degree murder. As the verdict was read, Kaitlin showed no emotion. She sat straight, eyes forward, as if meditating on the moment. Some said it was remorse. Others said it was pride, a woman refusing to let the world see her break. When reporters asked if she had anything to say, she gave no comment. But those who studied her case said the silence was her statement. control, even at the end. In the aftermath, Moriah's family released a statement: "No verdict can bring her back, but we hope the world remembers who the true victim was, not the one who ran, but the one who never got to live." Kaitlin Armstrong now sits in a Texas prison, her cell a sterile white room with no mirrors, no followers, no cameras, just time. Time to think about the peace she once preached and the chaos she unleashed. But even behind bars, her story continues to fascinate the internet. Thousands of podcasts, YouTube channels, and documentaries dissect her life, how a woman built around calm and wellness turned into a symbol of obsession and deceit. It's a paradox that haunts everyone who hears it, how someone who taught others to release negativity could become consumed by her own. In her final court appearance, one journalist noted that Kaitlin glanced up at the fluorescent light above her, the same kind that once flickered in her yoga studio, and whispered something under her breath. No one heard it clearly. But one lip reader swore she said, "I just wanted peace." And maybe that's the darkest truth of all. Because in her pursuit of peace, Kaitlin Armstrong created only destruction. If you think this story was wild, the next one will shake you even harder. Hit subscribe, because you're not ready for what's coming next.